Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess for this season, and this week we're going to talk about candle dressing. Our goal is to show you different ways of candle dressing. So here in my video, I decided that I'd like to talk about 7-day candles. And before I get into how to dress a 7-day candle, I do want to say there really is no right or wrong way to dress any candle, honestly. What works for some may not work for others. People that teach like traditional time-honored methods teach those methods because for them and for the people they learned from going back into history, they have found that those methods are pretty solid. That's all that means, okay? When I dress 7-day candles, usually I work as simply as possible. One thing I'm going to show you today that's different from my usual method is the way I'm going to use the oil on this candle. Okay, so first of all, I'm fixing a candle. I'm not going to tell you what it's for because that's a moot point. Depending what your candle is for, you're going to choose different oil, you're going to choose different herbs, you're going to choose, specifically different things. You're going to tailor those, obviously, to what it is that you're intending to bring about. But with that said, so I have a 7-day candle. It's a pink one. And the first thing I suggest, now you can work with ones that don't have labels, or you can work with 7 days, for example, like this, that have labels already. It doesn't really matter. First thing I suggest that you do is you set in place on the candle a psychological trigger. What is a psychological trigger? An image or a sigil or something that when you look at that candle, when you pass it by or whatever, whenever you look upon it, it triggers your mind to further feed the intention that you're working on. Even if you're not actively doing that, it just automatically works. Candles that come like this that have images and prayers on the back, that already has the psychological trigger on it because the image and the prayer, or the whatever it is, incantation, whatever it happens to be, the ones that come with images and so on and so forth, that's your psychological trigger. If you have a plain candle like this, you can do what I did for this one. What I do is I take a Sharpie marker, a permanent marker like so, and I will either do a sigil on the glass, or you can do an image, something that sparks to mind what it is you're seeking to achieve. Recently I did a video for the Biophilic Alternative where I did a blockbuster candle, and I was using a plain white candle. And I just drew the image of a wrecking ball breaking through a wall. And I wrote the words, blockbuster across the top of the candle. Now, you don't have to title your candle. It doesn't have to look all professional. As long as there's something on it that when you look at the candle in passing, you just happen to glance at it, whatever, on a subconscious level, you're psychologically triggering yourself to continue to feed the work. You don't have to sit there and purposely focus every time you look at the candle. Just having that visible is enough. What I do to protect the drawing on the glass, I use clear packing tape, and I will very carefully go over the image in case you need to move it or touch it or whatever. You're not rubbing off or scratching off what you wrote. The second thing, in this case, I'm going to work with a petition. You can work a petition paper repeatedly. You just change the candles that are sitting on top of the petition paper. I wrote out a petition paper here, but I'm not going to show it on camera because the candle I'm preparing is actually a candle. The reason, too, why I'm not going to show you what I've actually written on this paper, it's written on the other side, is not only that it's personal, but a petition doesn't have to be any certain way, okay? There is not one right way to write a petition. You're basically putting your intention down on paper. There are a lot of people that will teach you the methods that they learned. And honestly, writing a petition, that's a whole nother topic. Just like formulating a sigil is a whole nother topic. So I'm not really going to go into that into detail here. But I mean, if you were interested in learning that, you could honestly Google or search around on YouTube, you know, how to write a petition or how to create a sigil if you wanted to. There's people that'll tell you how they do it. There is no one right way. And I hope that if this video does nothing else besides showing you how to dress a 7-day candle, I hope this video will remind you all, please remember there is no one right way to do anything in the realm of magic. There's some people out there who tell you, oh, you're doing it wrong. Oh, that's not how you do it. Oh, that's totally wrong. Where'd you get that? You know what? Ignore those people because they don't have all the answers. All roads lead to Rome, and there are more than one way to do things. Again, as I said before, many people do teach tradition, and there's nothing wrong with traditions, certain traditions. The reason why those traditions are taught that way is because those are tried and true methods. That doesn't mean there's no other methods, though, okay? So anyhow, I wrote my petition out. It's on the other side of this. What I'm going to do, because I'm bringing this toward me, and again, by the way, I'm not working with the phase of the moon. Just so you know, because some of you might be like, wait a minute, you're working a spell to bring something toward you, but the moon has begun to wane. Why would you do that? Not everybody works according to the phases of the moon. I do occasionally, but not always. Now anyway, so I'm going to take my petition. It's up and down oriented. I'm facing it right now. I'm going to fold it toward me, okay? This is one thing that I do agree with, and it's one thing in tradition that a lot of people will tell you when it comes to petition papers. Fold things toward you when you're bringing it toward you, they say. Fold things away from you when you're pushing them away from you. So then I'm going to turn it clockwise, a half turn, and I'm going to fold it again. And I'm not going to fold it too many more times because I'm going to be sitting 7-day candles on this, and I don't want a wobbly surface. So 2 folds is quite enough. And I find the number 2 to be a threshold number. So I have my folded up petition. So I'm going to put a plate down, and then I'm going to put the petition, and then I'm going to be standing the candle on top of that, okay? And when I do also, when I put this on the plate, the way that I folded it toward me, the ends are open like this, the way that I folded it toward me, obviously the candle is going to face that same way. So when I look at it, it's folded toward me and the candle's facing toward me. Just an aside. Okay, so there's that. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is different from what I usually do. Usually when I apply the oil to the candle, that's the next step, I just either rub some oil around the top going clockwise, or I will rub the oil going counterclockwise depending on what it is that I'm doing. That's one way to do it. Another way is to load the candle with oil. I'm going to do it this way because I would like to add a little more oil to this one. Not that more or less of oil or herbs means it's a better or stronger candle. It's just that in this particular case, I just feel like it resonates with me to work with this method, so I'm going to do that this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chopstick. It has a really skinny, pointy end, as you can see, and I'm going to do 4 little holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Kind of like the points of a square. I'm going to do 4 little holes. You're not going to push this, well, I'm not going to push this all the way down into the candle, though. I'm only going to push it maybe about that deep, maybe just like 2 inches deep, sort of, like, give or take. It doesn't have to be all the way down through. Some people do go all the way down through the candle. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to make 4 holes. Just shake out any excess wax. Okay. So in this case, we're doing 4 holes like so. So then what I'm going to do to add my oil, I'm going to put a few drops of oil into like each hole. So there's that. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle appropriately chosen herbs for the intention. We're going to sprinkle those a little bit over the top. My advice, don't go nuts. I find that when you put too many herbs, sometimes that it displaces like the wax, and it can actually hinder the burning process. So go with a light touch is what I find works best. It's not how much you put, it's that it's there. In this case, I'm going to be using a special blend I made specifically for this case, for what I am doing. I'm just going to take a pinch, and I'm just going to sprinkle it going clockwise. You don't have to go clockwise, I just chose to go clockwise. You're going to just, if you're doing it the way I am, you're just going to sprinkle that on there. Again, don't go nuts, you just need some. You don't need, it's not like you need the whole jar. I stayed kind of away from the wick for the most part with those herbs. I also find that if you put a lot of herbs directly on the wick, again, sometimes that can lead to trouble with burning. It won't quite burn right. Sometimes it can actually hinder the burning of the candle, though that sounds counterintuitive. I've had a lot of experiences where in the past I used to load it on like crazy, thinking more is better. And for some reason, when those herbs were clumped up around the wick, it would actually create problems. So yeah, give a little space, around that wick. Make sure you're kind of more sprinkling a little further out. That's my advice. This is the part where you would charge your candle. You could hold it in your hands, focus on your intention, maybe visualize, summon up feelings that support what it is that you're seeking to bring or banish. I find when you're seeking to bring things in, it helps if you are summoning up feelings associated with what it would be like if you already had that thing. In other words, don't focus on your lack of that thing, that you want that thing. Let's say you want money or something. What you want to be focusing on is how great it feels if you were to have that money. Like really summon up those feelings of joy and freedom and like, yes, my problems are over. Like those kind of feelings. Picture yourself with loads and loads of cash, doing well at your job or something like that, or whatever it is that you're seeking. Don't look at it like, oh, I'm longing for this thing. I find it's better to summon that to you if you are focusing on it's mine, it's real, it's, like conjure that in your mind, conjure the emotions, the thoughts and things associated with if you had that already, not that you don't have it and you want it. Again, that's not how everybody does it, but that's how I do my charging. I focus very much on creating that reality, that emotional reality, that mental reality, that visual reality in my mind's eye, that it's here, it's real, it's mine. So the next thing, again, this isn't something I usually do, but it's something that can be done. Knock the bottom 3 times on the floor. Whatever powers that you believe in, guardians, guides, helpful spirits, helpful dead, intermediaries, deity, whatever. When you knock on the floor 3 times, it's like you're inviting them to come forward, please, and to help you to achieve what you're looking to achieve. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to do that when I actually charge the candle. But that would be the step after charging. You just kind of take it and you just, let's say this is the floor, you just go 1, 2, 3 on the ground. Don't do it really hard where you break the glass. It's not how hard you knock. It's just you're knocking just 1, 2, 3. And if you want to, you can even follow that up with a prayer, inviting your guardians, guides, ancestors, helpful spirits, helpful dead, your deities, whatever, all your spiritual allies. You can kind of be like, hey, please come forth and help me out with this. Just however your prayer feels right for you to pray. I'm not going to tell you what words to use because don't use my words. That your spiritual allies are not mine. I think when it comes from your heart, you will know what to say, and you'll connect with them better than I ever could. I hope that you found this video helpful. I'm interested to see and hear what everyone else brings forth this week. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feelings, anything you'd like to share, add, or anything, please don't hesitate to, post that in the comment box. and I will try and address your questions or comments or anything that you bring forth as best as I can, as quickly as I can and as thoroughly as I can. And with that said, I am tired and kind of out of it. So I'm going to wrap this up now. So I'm going to wish you blessed be and ashe. You have a great day, and until next time, until next week, bye-bye for now.